Yo, David Wygant here. We got a couple of cool guests. John Keegan's going to co-host today. And we're going to be talking on this Monday in March. We're going to talk about something that we've been talking about a lot this year, cryptocurrency and so forth. And there was an interesting thing, John, that I read this morning, okay, that 8% of the U.S. population understands what crypto is. 92% think it's tales from the crypt. 92% think it's something entirely different. So basically 92% of the US has absolutely no idea what this is. And that's probably the reason why a lot of people have not taken the plunge, invested, understood it. So we, on the 10-Minute Daily Reality Check, like to make everybody understand that there's many ways to make money. But first, you have to understand what it's all about. So today, we're bringing somebody on, John, who's going to introduce him, and we're going to get a good lesson today in crypto. So maybe the 92% can go down to 91% after they listen to the podcast today. John, do our intro, please.
Yeah. Hey, guys and gals. Yeah, it's interesting. I met a guy a few years back by the name of Trevor Koverko, originally a hockey player, professional athlete, then became a well-known entrepreneur, and we had a few conversations, and I just thought this guy's one of the great guys of our time. We're about to hear from him. He's super smart. He's super driven. He's super motivated. And anyway, I started fumbling around into the crypto world a few years back very lightly because friends said, hey, get some Bitcoin or whatever. So I got a couple. And then, about 6-7 months ago, I started really getting obsessed with it. And then I see on my Facebook feed that Trevor had started a company called Polymath, a crypto company. And it's really fascinating what he's doing and what their company is predicting will happen. And I just thought it would be amazing if he came on and just informed us all more about just what is crypto, what's happening in crypto, and what is Polymath, and what does that mean for the future of all of us. So hello, Trevor.
What's up, guys? John, David, thanks for having me. John, it's great to reconnect, man. You're one of the,
man.
You always want to find out what the cool kids are doing and follow the cool kids. That's what I consider you.
All right, thanks, man. Appreciate
cool kid, so I'm here to learn as well.
All right, excellent. I'll be as cool as I can here today. Cool. And I'm actually cool because I just flew back into Miami from the heat to a snowstorm, so I'm definitely cool today.
There's nothing I like more than hearing Americans complain about the cold.
I know.
It really makes it adorable.
Yeah. Americans are great at complaining about the cold until they go up to where you are in Toronto, and then they realize, what the hell have I been...
Let me tell you about, Toronto. Right? Toronto's actually not too different climate-wise from New York, but it's been a real doozy this year.
Yeah. Well, you're traveling quite a bit. So could you kind of just tell us, about, what you think crypto is going to be to all of us in the future or near future and far future and all of that?
Yeah, look, it's been, everyone jokes it's kind of like the rabbit hole from Alice in Wonderland. And once you fall down, there's no bottom. You keep getting deeper and deeper. So that's usually the first question I ask people when crypto comes up is, how far down the rabbit hole are you? So tell me, John, how far are we?
Well, there was a period where I definitely fell so far into the rabbit hole. I didn't care about anything. I didn't care about women. I didn't care about dating. I didn't care about my business. I only cared about watching YouTube videos of, all these different guys giving me their opinion. And then I had a really smart investor friend who's like a math wizard. And in December, I was like, look, man, Bitcoin's going to 20K. It's going to 20K. And he was trying to talk me down from the ledge and saying, look, let me show you this chart of how Japan's economy was at its peak, and then it was all of a sudden never came back. And I'm like, you're crazy, what you're talking about. And I even bought more Bitcoin at around 17,000. So So I got pretty far and obsessed in the rabbit hole. Obviously, this last month or so, it's been like pretty boring. So I feel like I've been focusing on other areas of my life, like back to writing a book and things like that.
Yeah.
But I definitely I'm in down into the rabbit hole and very far.
Yeah, no, look, I that's very normal. Don't worry. The crypto curse affects us all.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just I'm not a real spiritual / meditative / hippy dippy kind of guy, but crypto, there's something different about the culture of crypto. It is its own world. It is its own kind of group think in a way. Like everybody that comes, it's very borderless. It's very open. Like it's by its definition, crypto is an open source movement, and that's a very broad term, not just technologically, but the people. It's everybody travels. Everybody is very open to meeting new people. So it has been kind of like this whole cult of crypto people that I've been kind of in the eye of the hurricane with since day one. When I heard about it and got curious, I bought my first Bitcoin on eBay for $20.
On eBay?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. For $20?
Wait, was it buy it now or make offer?
It was like, looking back, it's a very sketchy, and you have no idea at the time because I didn't know what the hell it was. And there's private keys. Like you bought the logo, and then the guy you'd have to trust him to send you the private key. And I didn't even know what the hell it was back then. And so that was basically the only way you could buy it, other than doing it locally in person, because a lot of the exchanges hadn't existed yet. And that was my gateway drug. As soon as I got my hands on this stuff and started playing with it, I came, back in those days, it was kind of exclusive to the kind of libertarian anarchy movement. Pretty much everybody in those days was dabbling in kind of that free money, issue your own currency, like that kind of world. And now it's broadened completely, and you have a lot of Silicon Valley people, banking people from New York. It's really gone mainstream in a lot of ways. But yeah, that was kind of the beginning for me. And I started going to conferences. It's kind of funny now because all these guys back in those days were living with their parents' basement, and now they're on the Forbes billionaire list or flying around in private jets, because it's been an explosion of wealth creation. And for me, it's been quite an adventure. There's been ups and downs. People don't know this, but I think in 2013, early 2013, it was the crypto winter, and there was a good 18 months of just nothing. No one was making money. The price wasn't going anywhere. There was no activity. So everyone was getting real jobs. I had another project I was working on in the middle, and then Bitcoin came back, and Bitcoin turned into Mastercoin. That was the world's first ICO, and I was kind of around back with those guys, and that turned into MateSafe Coin and Factum Coin and all these. There was a time when someone figured out. I actually know the guy. His name is J.R. Willett, and he figured out how to decouple Bitcoin, the token, from blockchain, the protocol, and he figured out how to separate the two. And he said, well, what if we took the blockchain and we extended it and we modified it to do this, and then we put a new token that we branded on top of this blockchain? And that was the first ICO. That's what an ICO is. You take an existing chain in most cases, or your own blockchain if you really want to get fancy. And that was the catalyst that launched this crazy altcoin movement that we have today. And then shortly after that, sorry to rant here, but shortly after that, the Ethereum project emerged. And it was like, I don't know if you guys can see, this is our office here. Just outside the window was where Ethereum was found.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And it's kind of sickening. Back in, Ethereum actually had an ICO itself in 2014. And I remember, this just shows what I know, and this is why I'm kind of the contrarian indicator of crypto. I had, back in those days, you could buy one Bitcoin would buy you 2,000 Ether.
Wow.
That was the exchange ratio back in 2014. And I bought one. I bought one Bitcoin worth of, that's,
Yeah. Wow.
a couple $1,000,000 in some months past. So
Wow.
it's been, and what's cool though is that all these people, Ethereum actually created more millionaires than any other company ever.
Wow.
10,000 millionaires.
Wow.
And no other company except maybe Cisco, they say, is the one company that might have created 5 figures worth of millionaires. And that's really cool because now you have this, it's kind of like the emergence of Silicon Valley, because you have all this capital getting recycled back into new projects, new deals, new angel investors coming in. And that's how Polymath got started. We got bankrolled by a lot of these guys that did well in the Ethereum movement.
Wow.
Tell us about Polymath. I mean, that's so, God, it's like I didn't pay attention to any of this stuff. I just thought it was a bunch of geeks talking fucking matrix language. And I remember like people go like, buy this Bitcoin. I'm thinking like, what is it, like Bazooka Joe? I mean, it did not make sense to me at all. Now you look back on it and you're like, man, some of the smartest people got all this stuff together, but they were talking in such a language that I never understood. And thumbs up, man, to anybody who understood it, because I've met a bunch of people that made a lot of money. I know met a bunch of people that made a lot of money in Ethereum the same way. There was just, they got in at the beginning and it just made them a fortune. So good for you, man. I love that. So tell me now what Polymath is. How did this lead to Polymath? And what do you think the future of crypto truly is? Because everybody, you got people who think Bitcoin could be 2,000 and you got people who think Bitcoin could be 200,000. That is a huge wide spread. So you've got 2 questions to answer there. Of course, I inundated you with questions because
Wait, are you asking for him for a prediction on the price of Bitcoin?
I'm just seeing what he thinks.
Yeah, my track record is not the greatest on price predictions, but yeah. I'll also make a point that this sounds kind of I don't know, cliche or whatever, but I've noticed the guys who have done the best in the space are guys who are least worried about the price. And genuinely, people who are genuinely excited about the technology, genuinely excited about the utility of what each token does. They're not traders. They're not looking at the charts. They don't have all these apps with like buying. Like right. the guys who do the best are the guys and girls who do the best are people who see beyond kind of just the frothy, bubbly mania that we have. And, I don't look at price. I don't look at the price of our own token. I don't follow Bitcoin or Ether. To me, it's just noise. This is a long-term. I tell people, be short-term fearful and long-term greedy. That's how you can do well in crypto. Long-term greedy. If you want to get exposure, great. Average in slowly over time. Don't play you're not smarter than the market. The market is not rational. The market has like guys I know that pull the strings. They literally wake up and they're like, I want Bitcoin Cash to go to $30 billion market cap today. And then they click a button and it goes there. So you don't tell me that your little charts are going to predict.
Yeah.
It's totally, you're going to go crazy if you try to find all these patterns in all the price movement. So I just tell people, just do due diligence on projects. Find the ones I always look for the team first. Look for projects with guys who have built projects before, built communities, shipped products before. All this stuff, John. It's just like the guys who like can execute on an idea are usually the ones that are going to succeed in the long. And that's what I do when I'm looking at projects. It's just like, how can the team convince me that they're uniquely qualified to solve this problem?
Well, then this is a great point. Like I like to think, like, what do you think? Because, I mean, you're obviously a visionary, because the thing you came out with is not just like another thing. You come out with a whole other space, right? Another space that up until now wasn't existing. So how do you see and let's just talk about that space. And then I'd like to know, how do you see what's the world going to, besides, who gets rich and who doesn't, what's the world going to look like, for our grandmothers and for our kids? And how's the world going to be different in this sense, with this what's going to be different? Are we all going to be having all these different currencies? Or is it just going to be pretty much the same, but there's going to be all these token economies going on that, I'd like to know what the future looks like.
Yeah, just that's a great question, but just a quick point on the price stuff. So I've never sold a crypto.
Wow.
I'm not sure. I've sold one thing recently, but like there's a term called hodling, and it's
which is what? What's hodling?
It's how the cool kids say buy and hold. I think
you just hold it no matter what. Hold through the storm.
And it's very profound. Like this is, people don't get it. It's a joke, but it's just like, it means like you're not a speculator. You're someone who hangs on to the future of what they think is going to come. So can't stress that enough. But back to your question about kind of, I think there's a lot of different scenarios that can play out, and it's very analogous to the internet, the emergence of the internet back in the 90s, early 2000s. You had a lot of Wild West going on. You had a lot of scams going on. You had a lot of complete and utter overvaluations going on. But that's okay. That's part of the process of human nature and human emotion, is you have these cycles and you have the manias. But what emerged out of the internet bubble is Amazon and Apple and all of these multinational intergenerational companies now.
Right. Something called Google.
Google, yeah, it all came out of the wreckage. So like, and look at the internet now. It's completely central to everyone, and that all emerged out of the crazy pump and dumps and whatnot. So I see, yes, this is gonna come off. There's gonna be a potential popping of the bubble, but that's not the point. The point is, like, who cares about the .com bubble anymore? No one, because it's irrelevant. It's just a little rounding error in history. It's a little blip on the radar. But that's what we're in right now. We're in the adoption phase. You can think of it back to the internet. The internet's a protocol. The internet is an open source protocol called TCP/IP, and that was proposed by the founding fathers of the internet back in the 80s. And that's what blockchain is. It's a protocol. It's open source. No one owns it per se, and it's the same kind of evolution we're going through now, where the protocol layer is being built, just like with the internet. That has to come first. After the protocol phase, you have the infrastructure phase. So that's all for the internet. That was the venture capitalists, the fiber optics companies, the servers, like the infrastructure that's going to power the next phase, which is the application movement, which is Facebook, Uber, and all the consumer facing.
Any other thing, right? Like all the stuff like a regular guy could come up with then. So yeah, I want to make a dating app, right? But like that's not.
You couldn't do that. You couldn't do that until the first two phases were done. So crypto's in the same boat. We have the protocol layer. We're actually still in that phase. That's how early it is. When people think they're too late, it's like no. This is like 1990. And it's and then the infrastructure. You're starting to see that now. A lot of smart investors in crypto are going towards the wallets, the exchanges. This is the infrastructure that's eventually going to power decentralized Uber, decentralized Facebook. We're not ready for that because there's not scaling solutions in place yet. There's not consumer adoption. So it's a process. It takes time, and that's people have to understand. The internet took time, and this is going to take time too.
Everything takes time. I think people don't understand that, Trevor. John and I have been coaching for a combined 30 years. And, the first thing a guy does when he comes to us is says, hey, can I learn this stuff in an hour? Yeah, sure. It's just everything that you want in life, every change that is drastic in the way that we've done things before, whether it's on a personal level, an internet level, a technology level, just doesn't happen in the month of March 2018 in a minute. And this is what I think, this is the big takeaway that I'm hearing a lot from you right now, is that we're such in the infancy stages right now, not in this, it is a lot of speculation and stuff like that, because all companies won't make it, right? But we're just such in the infancy stage and how this is going to change things. So I think the people need to embrace and realize that this is long haul, not some short-term stuff that you're never going to hear about again. This is the way the world is changing. And I think that's a big takeaway right there for our listeners.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an inflection point we're right at, especially, the space that we're in within crypto is this, it's kind of a movement within a movement. And it's a realization that a lot of real world financial products and businesses can benefit from tokens and the blockchain as well. So we're trying to, right now, a lot of the wealth has been created from protocols and networks like Ethereum, Bitcoin, Ripple. Those are all utility coins that represent access to a network or access to a protocol. But that's changing. And we're seeing right now the emergence of a new category of tokens called securities tokens. And like I said, these are asset-backed, tangible, real life things that are being denominated in tokens instead of other forms of ownership like stocks or shares or units or things like that. So we're here within this crazy explosion. We're here kind of in another pocket of the space that we think is eventually going to outgrow even the original intention of coins themselves.
Wow. So what is as a security token, that means that literally instead of me buying stocks and bonds, I can buy tokens in a company, which is not happening now, right? And ICO isn't that. That's not what that is.
Exactly. Yeah. You don't. If you invest in a token and it goes bankrupt, and you think you have recourse or you think you have ownership of some kind, you don't. You have nothing. You have a ticket that doesn't have a arcade machine to use
right.
It. So that's exactly right. For these new types of this new generation of tokens, it's actually more simple than the first kind in a lot of ways. It literally just represents a share of an asset, and that could be anything from a multi-billion-dollar company to a duplex down the street that you want to tokenize to raise money for, and everything in between. So that's kind of our thesis, is that, and I could get into a lot of the specific reasons, but it's just owning a token from an investor's perspective and from an entrepreneur's perspective is dramatically superior than the current way to either raise money or invest in private companies.
Wow. Amazing. And that could be basically, like you said, so that's such a massive idea, because it's not just for a company like Apple. It's literally could be if I owned three buildings and I needed people to invest in it, and instead of, and they can invest in the token of my small company instead of another way, which might be more shady, right? This is very specific. So this could be really just part of the way that everyone does business in the future. Yeah,
I think so. I think it's you don't have to get too hyperbole about it, but it's kind of like, it's a better way. The blockchain it's potentially faster. It's more transparent. It's much more democratic in a lot of ways. And it's a next generational leap in a technology perspective. Like a token, you can program. You can't program your share certificate that sits in a filing cabinet from your stock that you own. It just sits there and collects dust. A token is internet. You can teach it to pay dividends. You can teach it to vote in like a proxy vote. You can teach it to and command it to do cap table management. You can teach it to do corporate governance. Your entire back office you can automate. These things called smart contracts are revolutionary, because you don't need to like execute something in a manual way. You can do it in an automated fashion. So we think the liquidity, the fact that if I invest in a fund, I might not get my money back for another decade. But with tokens, a lot of them can trade on exchanges, and you can actually get liquidity from your investment right out of the gate. So my point is, whether you're an investor raising money, tokens are great because there's a huge pool of $500 billion of wealth out there you can tap into. You can raise money non-dilutively in some cases. It's just better than raising traditional Series A's or Silicon Valley type seed rounds. And as the investor, it's better because you get liquidity faster, you get more transparency. You can't just issue more tokens. So as an investor, I don't want companies just to start issuing more shares and diluting my investment. But with tokens, you can't do that. It's mathematically impossible. You can't create more Bitcoin out of thin air. It's not programmatically possible. So it's a whole new way to do business is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, incredible. All right. Well, thanks for coming on here and sharing anything, all this stuff with us. Where would you say if people want to learn about Polymath, where should they look?
Yeah, check out. We got a lot of exciting announcements coming up. We're at polymath.network. We're located in Toronto and Barbados, so we're happy to meet with guests and people who want to learn more. And of course, John Keegan's Palace is a good place to do crypto as well.
Yeah, great.
Whatever city, whatever it is. But
yeah, I'm accepting crypto payments for any coaching services, by the way. So you want to put that out there. I accept Polymath.
Oh, man, we're mainstream now. Keegan's
That's true. You are mainstream, and I'm excited to be a part of it. I'm glad. I'm really thankful you came on based on our past relationship. It's really cool of you to do that. And I'd look forward next time you're in New York or wherever we are hanging out and saying hi.
Dude, would love to. I sent you guys a link. There's a little event in Barbados where we're going to be at next month in case you guys are free. Short for you, man. Miami, come on. That's
I'll be there. I'll be there in a heartbeat. No problem. So.
All right. Well, we'll
send us the link. Send us the link, and then can anyone buy a ticket to this link, or how does it work?
I'll send. So we got a couple. We just had a big event in Bahamas. We did an event called Polycon.
Yeah.
That was just off the chain. It was just crazy. Like we had like 8 billionaires that showed up. We had all the biggest public crypto companies. It was in this amazing resort in Nassau. It was crazy. It almost killed me planning the thing. But we had 650 people.
That's amazing. Yeah, I saw that. It was just like a lot of big names and big people. It was all over every Telegram chat group was talking about Polycon. So it's
man, it was great. It couldn't have gone any better. But we'll be doing another one soon. But I'll send you guys some stuff privately, and we'll go from there.
Cool.
All right. Awesome.
Trevor, it was perfect, man. I definitely think people will understand this a little bit more. I like the idea. Consider it a token to be able to raise money and to do things for freedom. Let's call it the freedom token.
Yeah, I didn't want to. It's better to keep things broad. I might have got.
Yeah. No, broad was good. Broad was good because I think people need to be educated more. Because I think if you get into the math and the blockchain and the whole, that side of it, a lot of people get lost. But I think what you did was you made it broad so people can understand it more. Because the more people that understand it, the more people that can participate with confidence, and that's really what it takes to participate in it anyway. Because not everybody has nerves of steel. So for the weak at heart, those other 92%, thank you so much for sharing it with everybody, and we'll see you all tomorrow on the Reality Check.
All right, thanks so much, Trevor. Peace,
Thanks,
bro.
Guys.
See ya.
Later.